Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, the Honorable Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, the Honorable William Ruto, the Cabinet Secretary for Labor, Sister Phyllis Kandia, Brother Francis Atwali, the General Secretary of KOTU, all protocols observed in the interest of time, Your Excellency, sir, from the Trade Union Congress, the Labor Center, that brings together trade unions in the public service with the university's academic staff union, led by Dr. Constantine Wesonga, who is here, and the treasurer of the Trade Union Congress, Dr. Kumba, the Union of Kenya Civil Servants Union, led by Tomodege, the national chairman, and member of parliament-elect for Nyatika constituency, the Kenya National Union of Teachers, led by Muzonzili Mwana Kwenderwa, the Kenya University Staff Union, led by Dr. Charles Mukwaya, the Dock Workers Union, led by Simon Sang, but represented at the board by Brother Bashir, and that forms the critical segment of the public service unions that are active in the day-to-day delivery of public service. It is therefore, Your Excellency, with great pleasure that we celebrate the 52nd anniversary of the Labor Day. It is no doubt that within that period of 52 years, Kenya has made enormous strides and has built one of the most industrious, resilient, and productive workforce as demonstrated here today. The labor movements in Kenya, led by Brother Francis Atwali and myself, have earned international respect. And Brother Atwali sits international boards, and I do the same at international level. That is a manifestation that Kenya has the best workforce. But over the years, workers have equally faced adverse effects on unpredictable returns for their labor. Their purchasing power has been eroding year after year, while the cost of living has been rising and the balance can no longer rest. Your Excellency, over the years within the public service, we have yearned for structured collective bargaining agreements. And we are happy at this point, we are closer home to signing and engaging in a structured manner with the government and with the employers. But Your Excellency, some employers have not concluded signing of these agreements, and this has occasioned unrest in the public service, especially the health sector and the higher education sector. We would not want to see a repeat of unrest in the public service, especially in the critical services, and we therefore appeal for the stakeholders, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission and the rest of the employers, to ensure that we conclude and sign agreements. Your Excellency, the unemployment remains a critical challenge to this country, the biggest ever. Statistics indicate that Kenya's unemployment rate currently stands at approximately 70% and 12% in 2006. That's a big rise. According to the economic experts, sir, Kenyan youth between ages 15 to 34 years constitute more than 40% of the national population of about 43.5 million people. I'll conclude my speech naturally. This is a workers' day. Yet they account for a whooping 70% of unemployed workforce. The World Bank estimates that close to 800,000 youths, mostly from the numerous institutions of learning, enter the Kenyan job market annually, majority of these being teachers and other skilled workers in the different sectors who are hardly absorbed in the government service since the introduction of the structural adjustment programs in the 1990s. For those 3 decades, the country has been denied of one of the key factors of productive skilled labor, and inadequate employment has failed to spur economic growth, and only half of the projected growth is realized annually. Out of the 800,000, only about 700 may succeed in securing professional employment in the formal sector. This is where only 5,000 teachers are hired annually. Even more terrifying today is the recently released economic survey report. The report has painted a bleak future of job security, especially in the informal sector. News that the unemployment has dropped by a further 15% will shake the industries and lead to wanton layoffs. These trends do not occur as a natural disaster. They are caused basically by poor management of the economy and bad policy frameworks. We propose that the government at this point, after consuming the structural adjustment prescriptions for many years, lifts the freeze on employment in the public sector to accommodate skilled, trained Kenyans to boost productivity in the public sector in order to ensure attainment of sustainable development goals. Labor fixing remains an immediate urgent need. By the year 2020, in all sectors of government, to enable an environment to spur economic growth. With the current unemployment rate, Kenya needs to create about 4 million jobs for our youths by the year 2020. To make economic sense, I think this is our Labor Day, and I will finish shortly. To make economic sense, majority of these jobs should be in the teaching service and the rest of the public service. Your Excellency, fighting absolute poverty, ensuring there is food satisfaction, sufficient health care system in this country, and delivery of quality education, which are the goals of Sustainable Development Agenda, cannot be done without quality labor. And therefore, quality service delivery can only be delivered by adequate personnel. Ladies and gentlemen, like the war on Al-Shabaab, the war on unemployment must be fought with the same figure, resolute and commitment. The trade unions are the icing on the cake in all production sectors. They have a right to existence along all the social fabric, and no state can succeed without labor movements. And Your Excellency, Kenya has the best labor movement in the world. Every government has a cardinal duty to protect the tenets of good labor practices and allow them to practice freely and negotiate with the government and other employers in good faith. The courts, and we are lucky in this country, we have the Employment and Labor Relations Court. And the courts must refuse to be used by instruments of the state to deny workers oxygen and their fundamental right to social dialogue. In no part of the world do courts solve problems. In strong democracies, courts do not entertain labor cases, preferring instead to return them to the conciliation boards. to grant employers application to sack employees, as happened recently at the KPA, where 28 workers were ordered sacked, is not only being insensitive to the right of their voices. This decision will haunt the courts for a long time to come. Employment and labor relations courts were created to regulate labor relations, and verdicts must protect the interest of workers. Employers ought not to appeal against rulings of the labor relations court. This is why the employment and labor relations courts were established, to order the arrest and jailing of labor leaders, like it happened with the doctors, union leaders, and the rest, for choosing to stand firm on their calling and mandate on behalf of workers, is indeed a black chapter in the history of the judiciary and labor movement in this country. To slap trade unions with harsh measures meant to deny them resources to function constitutes attack on the rights of trade unions and is a violation of ILO Convention number 98. Lately, we have witnessed trends where the Salaries and Remuneration Commission have systematically usurped the rights and mandates of employers to negotiate and reach agreements with unions. We, in the trade unions, believe in social dialogue within our ranks and with our partners. We, however, wish to raise our displeasure in that more often than not, it has become increasingly difficult to engage with senior government officials. Your Excellency, it is now much easier to reach the head of state than it is to meet the cabinet secretaries and some senior government officers. We have to say it very, very honestly. This explains why, for instance, strike notices go unattended until they expire, only for the officials to call for last-minute attempts to arrest the situations to no avail. This tendency must cease, and let those bestowed with public offices know that it is better to listen than to talk and issue threats. Your Excellency, sir, as I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this year's celebration is workers, women, children, and vulnerable Kenyans appeal for peaceful elections. It would not have come at a better time than this celebration. As we approach the national elections, we would wish to add our voice and call upon all Kenyans, young and old, to go and vote and maintain peace and avoid violence. We shall be addressing ourselves as workers to the political party manifestos. We will want to see all political parties customize the rights of workers into their manifestos. And Your Excellency, you have listened to workers so well over the years. You have personally fixed labor issues so well over the years. And we hope the workers' rights, as provided for in Section 41 of the Constitution and in the ILO Conventions, shall be in page 1 of the manifesto of your party. Kenyan elections should be issue-based and not ethnic-based as outlined in Kenya Vision 2030. Would want the world to know Kenya is one proud country whose national anthem is played in all the Western capitals, such that even when our president is not visiting, our athletes are visiting. Thank you all, and may God bless all of us in this Labor Day. Thank you.
Asante sana. Tuliomba pale mwanzo ya